Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new series here on Disney Magic Zach. I am going to be your host for this, and we're going to be reading some audiobooks, we're going to be reading some stories. And this one that I've got here is called Almost There, a Twisted Tale novel. Now, the way this is going to work, there's going to be a new upload every Wednesday for you guys to enjoy, to relax, enjoy, and overall something different, something that I've been wanting to do for a little while here on the channel. So each video, each episode is going to be one chapter. I'm going to start with reading the blurb and reading the prologue here today. So sit back, relax, pop on some music, stick a candle on, get a glass of wine, and let's read this. Let's see what this is. So this is Almost There, a twisted tale novel by Farah Rochan. I probably butchered the name, but this is based on, of course, Princess and the Frog. And these are alternate kind of like stories, alternate realities. And the blurb says, what if Tiana made a deal that changed everything? When the notorious Dr. Facilier backs Tiana into a corner, she has no choice but to accept an offer that will alter the course of her life in an instant. Soon, Tiana finds herself in a new reality where all her deepest desires are realised. She finally gets her restaurant, her friends are safe and sound, and perhaps most miraculous of all, her beloved father is still alive. But after a while, her hometown grows increasingly eerie, and Tiana must work alongside Naveen and Charlotte to set things right, or risk losing everything she holds dear. It sounds like a very good story. It sounds like a very good novel. I am excited. So, without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to be reading the prologue here, and the prologue is entitled Tiana. New Orleans, 1912. Daddy! Daddy! The little girl ran as fast as her wobbly 5-year-old legs could carry her, irrepressible joy shining in her dark brown eyes. Her pigtails bounced gaily, the ribbons tied around them precariously close to flying away with the brisk breeze blowing in from the pond. James stooped down to one knee, his arms open wide, waiting for his little ray of sunshine to rush into his embrace. Come on, baby girl, I got you. He scooped her up and spun her around. The hem of the green and yellow dress his wife, Eudora, had made for their daughter, Tiana, fluttered as they twirled around. You want to dance with your daddy? James asked as he set her on his hip and playfully pinched her chubby cheek. Yeah, daddy, let's dance. He and his sweet girl rocked back and forth to the drumbeat of the band playing in the centre of Congo Square. Their family had gathered for the annual neighbourhood picnic to celebrate the arrival of Mardi Gras, the biggest party on the face of the earth and the most jubilant time of the year here in their hometown of New Orleans. Blankets of every colour and fabric adorned the square, each representing a family that had come to contribute to their beloved ritual. The air was fragrant with the aroma of home-cooked Creole food, and the chatter of neighbours catching up with old friends competed with the music from the brass band. No, Daddy, I want to dance like you do with Mama, Tiana said. James threw his head back and laughed. Just how do I dance with your Mama? Like this. She slid down his legs and placed her tiny feet on the tops of his much bigger ones. Then he reached for his hands. Here, hold mine, she said. James's hands swallowed hers as he wrapped them around her fingers. Is this right? He asked. Yeah. Her pigtails bobbed with her emphatic nod. Now we move like this. She swayed her hips from side to side, her dress rocking like a bell. She stared up at him with a cheerful, gappy smile. Her 2 front teeth had fallen out just a few days ago. James looked over at Eudora, trying to catch her attention so that she could see her daughter in action. But his wife was busy laying out the feast he cooked that morning, and entertaining the friends and family who were steadily dropping by to offer their congratulations on the new house he and Eudora had just purchased in the 9th Ward. It wasn't the fanciest place, but it was a lot better than the one-room flat they lived in for the past 5 years. There was a yard with enough room for a garden in the back, and a veranda that James couldn't wait to spend time on. A good, sturdy house that a man could be proud to raise a family in. He looked down at his baby girl, imagining the years of happy memories to come in their new home, and his heart swelled with joy. "What's going on here?" Eudora asked as she sidled up to them. "I'm dancing with Daddy the way he dances with you," Tiana beamed. "Is that so?" his wife asked. "Yeah. Does this make me a grown-up?" Tiana asked. "Don't you worry about growing up any time soon," James chuckled. "I like my baby girl just as she is right now." Tiana pulled her hands away from his and jumped off his feet. She rushed over to her mother and shoved her towards James. "Now you do it," Tiana ordered. "Come on, Mama and Dada, dance." James held a hand out to his wife. "You heard the child," he said. Shaking her head at their daughter's antics, Eudora placed her hand in his. She took Tiana close to her side, and together the three of them rocked to the music. Gratitude filled his chest, wedging into every corner and crevice. He had never asked for a perfect life, but somehow he had been blessed with one anyway. New Orleans, 1917. Tiana struck a match on the edge of the table and used it to light the wicks of the half-melted tapered candles she'd found in the drawer of the kitchen bureau. She'd wrapped tinfoil around the bases to catch the dripping wax, but now she wasn't too sure about that. It took away from the romantic ambience she was trying to create. "Can we come in now?" her mother called from behind their bedroom door. "Not yet," Tiana said. "Give me a minute." She ran over to the cooker and flipped over the beignets she'd set to frying a few minutes earlier, and using the stepping stool to retrieve a plate from the cupboard. Give her a few more years and she wouldn't need this stool to reach the upper cabinets. Like her daddy's always joked, she was sprouting up like a weed in his vegetable garden. Tiana scoops up the hot beignets, added a little sugar on top, and took them over to the kitchen table. She filled a glass jar with water, then added the flowers that she picked on her walk home from school. She set it on the table in between the two candles. "Perfect," Tiana whispered. "Okay, y'all come out now," she called. Her entire body vibrated with excitement as she waited to see their faces. "Happy anniversary!" Tiana screamed when her mama and dada entered the kitchen. "Well, look here. Did you make beignets, baby girl?" "I sure did," Tiana said, proudly lifting her chin in the air. "These look better than any I've had down in the French Quarter," her daddy said. "Between my gumbo and this girl's beignets, I say we can open ourselves up a restaurant one of these days. What do you think, Eudora?" "I think I want to eat my beignets before they get cold," her mother replied. They all sat at the table and gorged on the fried donut squares until there were none left. Once they were done, her daddy sat back in his chair and rubbed his flat stomach. "They were some fine beignets, Tiana. You really do have talent in that kitchen." "Thank you, Daddy." Tiana's smile grew so wide that her cheeks started to hurt. James reached across the table and took Eudora by the hand. "How about an anniversary dance?" They pushed their chairs back from the table and strolled to the centre of the kitchen, between the cooker and her mother's sewing machine, and Daddy gathered her mama in his arms, and Mama laid her head against his broad chest as they began to sway. "How are you all going to dance with no music?" Tiana asked. She set her elbow on the table and rested her chin in her upturned palm. "Of course, if we had a gramophone, I could play music for you all to dance to." "We don't need no expensive gramophone to hear music," her daddy said. "In this family, we make our own music." He started to hum a tune that made her mother blush like a schoolgirl. Tiana put both elbows up on the table and smiled as she watched her parents rock slowly from side to side, their eyes closed and both singing softly in their own words. New Orleans, 1921. "Tiana, are you still in that kitchen?" Maybe," Tiana called over her shoulder. She blew at the steam rising up from the spoonful of gumbo she'd just taken from the pot and quickly slurped it up. Her mouth twisted in a bemused frown as she tried to dissect the flavours hitting her tongue. "I taste the cayenne and the rue, and the smoke flavour from the neck bones is there. What am I missing?" Tiana murmured. "Little girl." Tiana jumped and turned at her mother's call. Eudora carried a bolt of fabric from her storage room in the rear of the house and dropped it next to a sewing machine. She plopped a hand on her hip and regarded her daughter with a stern, pointing look. There is nothing more to do with that gumbo other than to let it cook, she said, and go finish up your schoolwork so you can be done by dinner. I will, Mama, Tiana said. I just need to figure this out. I don't know why I didn't have Daddy write down his recipes before he left. I'm gonna have him do just that the minute he gets back home. I think your Daddy will have other things on his mind when he finally comes back home, her mother said. Besides, he never writes down a recipe. It's always just a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Eudora walked over to the cooker and gestured to the spoon Tiana held. Let me have a taste. Tiana scooped up a helping of the brown liquid and held it up to her mother's lips. After taking a sip, Eudora pointed to the cabinet that held the spices. Sprinkle in a bit of that ground sassafras, she instructed. Tiana did as she was told and stirred up the gumbo. She took a taste and smiled at her mama. Your Daddy's not the only one who knows how to cook, you know. He just likes doing it more than I do. Eudora took the spoon from Tiana's hand and bumped her with her hip. Now go on and finish that homework. A half hour later, Tiana and her mother sat at that small kitchen table, enjoying her Daddy's signature dish. Even though gumbo was more of a Sunday meal, Tiana had decided to make it on this random Tuesday. She just wanted to feel closer to her Daddy. He'd been away for over 5 months now, fighting a war in a far-off place that Tiana had only read about in her school books. It's a good thing I made a big pot of gumbo, Tiana said, because I'm going for seconds. Well, if you're going for seconds, so am I, her mother said with a laugh. Just as Tiana pushed away from the table, there was a knock at the door. You get the gumbo, I'll get the door, Eudora said. Tiana carried their empty bowls into the kitchen and heaped another helping of gumbo into each of them. With one bowl in each hand, she turned back towards the table. She stopped short at the sight of her mother standing in the doorway. 2 uniformed men stood on their front porch, their cap in their hands and solemn frowns on their faces. She heard her mother gasp and let out a god-awful scream. Tiana knew she would hear in her nightmares for years to come. Her mother crumpled to the ground, and the bowls of gumbo shattered at Tiana's feet. That was the prologue of Almost There, a Twisted Tale novel. Like I say, 1 chapter every week. So join me next Wednesday for a brand new chapter. And we'll be starting the chapter. Chapter 1 is entitled Tiana. And I'm super excited to dive into this. So thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe to the Disney Magic Zach channel for more audio book sessions like this in the future. Podcasts, videos and vlogs all coming very soon and more on the way. Be sure to enjoy the rest of your day and I'll catch you all very soon. Until then, much love. Have a magical day.